move on to the next. I think the movie Moneyball we all watched, or a lot of us watched, I thought was a great movie. It kind of showed us how analytics changed how they did baseball and how they do player selection. There's a lot of disruptors that are going on in real estate right now, and it's starting to impact the marketplace. So some examples are Amazon. Amazon represents 49% of all e-commerce trade in the U.S. right now. And remember, BlackBerry used to control the cell phone market. They're no longer. They're doing a totally different business line. We have WeWork as a co-working giant. They're the largest tenant in Manhattan. We have Uber, well, they're not here yet, but they're also offering many other services other than just a taxi service. We have cannabis now, which is legal in Canada, which is going to have some impact. So I want to ask you, each of you, what is, maybe I'll start with you after, what disruptor has surprised you, and how is technology and innovation going to change how we do real estate in the future?
Well, my personal view is that it hasn't changed the real estate market as much as people perceive, okay, in terms of technology. What scares me the most is artificial intelligence. I don't know what that means. I don't know if any one of us are going to be working in 20 years from now. That type of technology does scare me, but what's happened in the technology space, I think, has been a bonus for real estate, by and large, across the board. So,
Colin, we were talking the other day about how you're learning from your technology tenants. Do you want to expand on that and how it's impacting how you might change, how you deliver a product in the future?
Yeah, I think, you mentioned Amazon. We're definitely seeing that affect the retail sector. WeWork's an interesting business model. Essentially what they do is they lease long-term real estate and provide it to their tenants on short-term basis. And it'll be interesting to see how that model, is impacted in a downturn, which is still, I would argue, unproven. And then you've got things like Bitcoin that are coming, and how the whole ownership of real estate, how that landscape's going to change. But on the development and the construction side, we're seeing Google right now. They're developing a 12-acre development parcel on the waterfront in Toronto. And that'll be really, we're watching that very carefully to see how and what are the things that they're thinking about. There's a company called Katira that was the Vision Fund, the SoftBank Vision Fund. They invested $1 billion in, and they're trying to build housing like you would a car in a manufacturing plant. And those sorts of things that are really interesting. You got autonomous vehicles that are coming, which will change the landscape, not just of how we build, but also how we live. We put such a premium on living around transit. Will that still be around if we have autonomous vehicles, or will we be building in different places? That'll be very interesting to watch. And then you mentioned AI and robotics. Robotics is going to change our landscape. And there's a company out of Japan right now that's beta testing a robot that puts up drywall. And that will revolutionize our industry. So the real estate and construction industry has been very late to the party with respect to the technology, but they're coming up the curve very fast. There's a lot of money being thrown into the sector, and it's going to change a lot in the next 5 years.
What I'm interested is with autonomous vehicles, and for a developer like yourself, how is that going to drive how much parking you put in a development in the future? And do you have to plan for that parkade to be an alternative use down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. And parking right now, we're seeing the number counts. Every building we do less and less parking. And it will only be, once autonomous vehicles are here, it'll be even less. Yeah.
So Rob, how is disruptors, what disruptors are you seeing, and how is it affecting how you select real estate?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say in a Vancouver context, I look at the big disruptors being government tax policies and regulations, both foreign and domestic. So for instance, China has currency controls, and they've had them forever. But now they've made them more and more stringent for people to move their money out of China, particularly if it's going to invest in real estate in Canada. So those beefed up regulations out of China are going to restrict what would otherwise been billions and billions and billions of additional dollars coming into Canadian marketplace. Vancouver getting a big chunk of that. So that's a big disruptor that most people don't pay attention to, but it's happening right now. The other big disruptor is the taxes that we were talking about earlier that the provincial government has put in place. The speculation tax, the school tax, the foreign buyers tax, this tax, that tax, the next tax, and it's only the beginning. If we keep the current government in place, we're going to have all kinds of additional taxes. So these new taxes are very large disruptors to our marketplace. So that's the kind of thing that mostly concerns me.